Just wanted you to be aware, and that'll be taking effect in just a moment. Just wanted you to be aware. Okay, Kate, that is ready to go.
Okay. Thank you to everyone who joined, and we will also send out a replay, and we're hoping this will be quick today, but we're trying something new. So my name is Kate Strathy, and I'm a volunteer commissioner with the Human Rights Commission, the City of Salem. We have Gretchen here as well, who is an employee of the City of Salem. And then Joaquin, who is the chair of the Human Rights Commission. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm going to be leading the presentation, but you are welcome to stop me at any time if you have questions, and I will also rely on Gretchen and Joaquin to help call on folks because I might not see your raised hand or I might not be able to see who's speaking. So this year, we're doing something a little different. Usually we do release a community belonging survey around April or May of the year. And this year we're doing a partner information session for our community-based organization partners or just community partners in general. And this is to provide you with a little bit more information about who we are as a board for the city of Salem. And then also to give you more information about the survey before we send you the email asking you to help us get it out into the community so that you have information that makes you feel more confident that you can send it to any distribution lists or your friends or family or anyone who resides or works or just lives or recreates in Salem frequently. So with that, I'm going to get started. And if you can you see, Gretchen, can you see the heading on this or is the
I can. Kate, I
okay,
see this introduction to HRC.
perfect, thank you. So on my screen it's black, but that's okay. So a little bit of background about us. So this Human Rights Commission for the City of Salem began in the 1960s, and it's one of the older human rights commissions for the state, which is a point of pride for us. It's a board of volunteers, so we are not elected officials, but we are appointed volunteers for the city, but we're appointed by city council and the mayor. And there are 15 positions, they rotate, and they're 3-year appointments. Mine personally, I had like a temporary one that was a year. So I've already done a year's I don't know, you call it like a temporary assignment, and then started my 3-year appointment. And Hope is here too. Thank you for joining. Hope is also a commissioner and one of our youth commissioners. So we have multiple committees, and the great thing about our committees are these are open to the public. So we encourage folks to join either committee, a task force, which are open to the public, or we encourage the public and any of our community-based partners to provide public comment. So that's something that you can do at any of our meetings, including just the monthly Human Rights Commission meeting. If you have something that you'd like to say or anything that you'd like to bring to our attention on behalf of your community or yourself, we're happy to receive that feedback and input. And our committees right now, and Joaquin and Gretchen can correct me if I'm wrong, but we are sunsetting a task force that was like a policy and procedures task force to start to operationalize the Human Rights Commission a bit more and put some more better guidelines around the way that we run our meetings and especially our special meetings. So that we have made a lot of progress, and thank you to the commissioners who did that. So we're sunsetting that task force. But the great news is we now are starting a new task force for disability advocacy, disability rights. And so we have folks who've been appointed to that task force, and we're kicking that off soon. And a focus area for us for this year is something new that we're starting to see. What is the community interest, and how do we engage as a community together to uplift everyone, including myself, everyone in our community who has disabilities. And then we have an LGBTQ plus committee. So that is different from task force. It's ongoing. And our community belonging survey informs the work that we do and our focus areas for the year. And our LGBTQ plus committee uses that information to provide or to really focus on areas of improvement each year. So one of the things this year that we'd like to provide for the community is like a healthcare forum. And it's one of our goals for this year. And then we have a community engagement committee, and that's something that I chair. We are leading the survey effort and working with the whole Human Rights Commission on that. But we do things also like getting out into the community and walking through the streets of Salem and downtown Salem to engage with businesses, get the word out about the work that we do, and inform people about our bias hotline too, and let them know that Gretchen is on the other end of the line usually, but she is available in case someone experiences an act of discrimination or bias in the community. And there's a difference between bias crime and just an act of bias if you're a bystander or experience it yourself. But that is something that the city offers. They can be an advocate, they can help resolve that, or they can just take a note that those things are happening in the community. So a lot of different things happening across the Human Rights Commission as a whole, but we hope that you'll engage with us more as well. So this is the information section about our yearly belonging survey. It's also been called a discrimination survey in the past. You might have heard it called one or both things. Really, really quick, brief overview, and I'm speaking really fast, but I'm going to keep going. So speaking about the belonging survey itself. So again, we used to call it a discrimination survey, and we updated that because some community members didn't feel like that was representative for them. They felt like, well, maybe I haven't experienced an act of discrimination, so I'm not going to take the survey. And so that wasn't representative of our community as a whole. And we wanted to make it so that everybody felt like they could participate. We had a better sample. And so we've changed the language and we're really intentional about our language as we iterate every year. And so this year, we're intentionally calling it a belonging survey. And we're updating our language a little bit in some of the questions. You'll see a little bit of a change this year to focus on a sense of welcome and a sense of belonging in Salem. That is really intentional. And Marianne Bradshaw, who is the professor leading the class that is working on the survey, the reason that we are using sense of belonging is because sometimes people feel like, no, I grew up in Salem. I belong here. This is my community. I belong here. But they might actually experience discrimination based on one of their just one factor. Like I said, I have a disability, so maybe it's something like that, right? So we want people to feel a sense of belonging and a sense of welcome, but understand what we're trying to ask. We're trying to ask, do you feel like you belong? Do you feel like you belong in certain spaces? Do you feel like you belong in public buildings, or where do you feel safe? And so we're being really intentional in the way that we're asking these questions. And Marianne could probably explain it a lot better than I am, but that's okay. We also have done the survey for 7 years, and we started in 2017, and we did not do it consecutively every single year. But 7 years is quite a while, and we have that historical data, which is really helpful to see year over year, how are we progressing, or what communities are we focusing on each year, and how does it change over time? You can see a small little graph, and thank you to Joaquin for this, but this is just the last 3 years of survey data. And last year, I think, was our highest participation rate yet. So that's thank you to our community partners. Without you getting the word out about the survey, we would not have almost 1,000 respondents last year. So we really, truly couldn't do it without the students, without all of our commissioners pitching in, and without our community pitching in too, to get the word out. I'm going to pause for a second. Any questions before I move on? It's a lot of information.
think this is Gretchen.
Okay.
I want to, for your awareness, let you know Professor Bradshaw is also here from Western, and there may be a student in the room with us as well, not sure, but for your awareness.
Yes. So if you have any specific survey questions or goal questions, Marianne can also help answer those. Okay, I'm going to keep going. So the survey this year will be open approximately April 21st to May 14th. We don't have the exact date that it'll be live yet, but we will let you know. So anyone who is a community partner, if you're on this distribution list, we will get an email to you. And then we hope that you'll spread the word, that you'll get it out to your friends, your family, any distribution lists that you may run through your organizations or your own volunteer work. That's really how we get the word out about the survey. We also do a lot of physical distribution of the survey, like in person. And that's my third bullet there. But it is a virtual where people can take it online, but they can also do it with like a physical paper copy where we're like in person with someone with a pen in hand helping folks take the survey. So if that is also easier for your organization, let us know. Or if someone needs accommodations, please contact Gretchen and let us know. Yes, Marianne.
If I can just chime in here, we have found the very best response in a scenario where someone has a link, like in their email, on their Facebook, something where I'm on my computer, I'm on my phone, and I get a message with the link. So we do obviously want to support people to do the survey in the way that works best for them. We've tried some QR codes where we're handing out flyers or posting posters in locations. But as you're thinking about the organizations that you work with, if you have a newsletter that goes out in email, if you have social media, happy for you to use your creative mind and energy to help get the word out in the way you think works best for your group. But what we've seen historically is any opportunity for someone to get that link where they're already on their computer or phone and can just do the survey right then, we get a better response than the other options.
Thanks.
And
From the Be Black Foundation.
Hi
yep.
there, Jessica Peterson here. I also wanted to ask if it's possible to get like a social media graphic from the HRC. So like if I wanted to share it on our social media with the link, having a graphic of some sort, talking about it would be helpful. That way we're not creating separate images and stuff for every organization. That would be very helpful.
Yes, I'll show you that. We have a couple options this year. And if
Perfect.
you have a preferred social media format, that would be helpful to know. But I have a couple of options this year too. So I will show you that next. But thank you. That's really helpful. Sorry if there's background noise. I feel like I'm in like a refrigerator unit, but like I kind of am in a refrigerator unit. So there is this industrial air conditioner in here too. So thank you. Yes, I'll show you that in the next slide. So I just want to give a shout out to Marianne's class. And Marianne, would you like to take just a second to talk about your class? Because we do this every year and they're incredible. And I just want to give them the kudos they deserve too.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for the opportunity. So I teach a class at Western Oregon, and I love being able to bring a real life project to the students. The very first year that I taught, we did some projects, and the work of the students, I was like, they are brilliant. They work so hard. And the presentations and the insights and the recommendations, I was just like, there are organizations across town that would benefit so much from this mind and energy power. So I've been so happy to be able to partner with the Human Rights Commission. It's been a great partnership with a lot of dialogue and collaboration. The class of students that are working on the project this year are really enthusiastic and bright and energetic, and we're just really grateful for the opportunity to have a meaningful project where they are like, yes, we can help make the world a better place, and use the skills they're learning to do a survey and then analyze that and bring forth a summary and some recommendations. So it's been a really great partnership, and I'm really grateful to the Human Rights Commission. And I'm also really grateful to those of you who've joined this call today, because if any of you have ever written a survey and put it out, you think about exactly the wording and what you want to learn and what decisions you're trying to inform and how you want to do it. And then if nobody does the survey, it's all for nothing, right? Like, so to have people come today to say, we'll help support the project, we'll help get the invitation out. And we really, a survey like this, every survey, you want a wide variety, people from all walks of life to come on and do it and share thoughts, opinions, perspective, experiences. In particular, a survey like this, we are looking across Salem, and we're not going to be able to get a wide representation without help. So really appreciate those of you who've come today and are willing to help share the invitation. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and then lastly, last year we had some random gift card drawings for people who took the survey, and we will do the same thing this year. We'll have $50 Winco gift cards. I think more than one, Marianne? Two. Okay, thank you. And that's from an anonymous donor, I think. Wink, wink to Marianne. I don't know exactly whom, but we'll just thank you. So, the city's budget, we really appreciate that. So, okay. How can you help? Spread the word, encourage participation. Just honestly, the newsletter distribution from different community-based organizations, nonprofits, it just really helps to get the eyes on the survey that we need, right? And then spreading through social media, newsletters, community emails, in-person opportunities. If you have an in-person opportunity happening during that window, please let us know, and maybe some students or commissioners can show up and be there in person to talk about the survey, like in a lobby area or something, or table. That would be fantastic and help us be able to get more respondents. And then we will provide you with a social media package too, either after this session, but actually we need to get a link to the survey. So we will do that when we're ready to release the survey. So I was getting ahead of myself with that, but we will do it as we're closer to releasing the survey. So we'll get you a couple different formats for social media. And this is what it'll look like. So we have a Spanish version. Thank you to Joaquin. And then we will have like an Instagram square version, and then that vertical format of like an Instagram story / TikTok story view. And I think it's pretty standard across social media now, but there are a couple different formats that we will get for you. So it's easier to promote. And on this too, we talked about making sure that they're able to be hyperlinked. We might include a small QR code because some people still do prefer QR codes. So we're still working through what this will look like exactly, but we also talked about a couple of posters. So stay tuned. We're not 100% there yet, but this is what it looks like. It's very similar to last year too. Okay. So resources, like I said, this is pretty quick. We're almost done. So resources, we have our Human Rights Commission website, and we are working on updating that as part of our, I don't know exactly the name, but the Policies and Procedures Task Force. So one of the things we're trying to do is update the website to have stronger content, especially around who is on the commission and, what do we do, what drives our interest in doing this work as well. And then the survey link itself is coming soon. We have a YouTube channel that Gretchen runs, and she's fantastic about making sure that everything is captured. So if you missed any Human Rights Commission meetings and you'd like to watch those, you're welcome to check out the replays. This session, like I said, we'll have a replay, and so we'll send out the link for that. And then lastly, you have my contact information here too. And that is also, I think, in the email that we sent, and we will send that out again as well. So if you have any questions, you're welcome to contact me or Gretchen, and we'll get you an answer. So That is all we have. Like, we try to make this super quick on lunch, just really easy for you. And then we will get in contact within the next week or two to get you the survey links and then to kick it off and make sure that the community has everything they need to get this out. But if you have any questions, we can take those. Joaquin.
No question, Kate, but just a big thank you to you and Professor Bradshaw and Gretchen and everyone here joining us over the lunch hour to help make this a reality. You know, I often comment, and for those of you who work or live in Salem, know that the city is in a difficult place, and there's a lot of big questions being asked and decisions being made. And one of the things that I have found fruitful from this survey is that when community partners like yourselves do partner with us and do get the word out, we get more robust and more comprehensive sense of where folks are in Salem, what they're feeling, what they're experiencing, and what's going well, what their anxieties are, and what their priorities are for the city. And I can tell you, this is my fifth survey during my time on the commission, and last year was probably the most robust in terms of engagement from council. We heard from folks in the survey that they found belonging at spaces like the library and parks and things that the city is talking about every day, whether they're going to cut them, whether they're going to reduce their hours, whether we will support them. And so we know that community is finding community in places that the city is intimately involved in, or not finding community where the city could do better. And so this is one way of many, but still an important way for the community to telegraph what's important to them, to them being folks in power, people who can make decisions. And we're just really honored that you're willing to be part of that conversation as we are. And so know that your efforts and your partnership are being put to good use. In recent years, we've had recommendations that have been pretty important, like changing housing status to protected class here in Salem, adding closed captioning to public places of public accommodation for folks who are hearing impaired or hard of hearing, and we've had this conversation about libraries and other things during a time of real budget austerity in the city. So know that your contributions and your partnership are appreciated, and I thank you for being here today.
I have one question for Marianne because I think this question is really helpful as people feel often concerned like sharing data or personal information in surveys and often feel concerned of what that looks like as it's rolled up to maybe city council. Marianne, can you share the process of aggregating the data so that if I personally share something, what does that look like as it goes through the process of see, how does it go from me to going to city council and the mayor so that there's nothing that's like a personal identifier on there, right? And what does that look like in data security in this process?
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. So we reassure everybody that responses will be kept confidential as well as anonymous. And what that means is the survey tool we use is called Qualtrics, and it has options we can select in terms of IP address, and we turn off everything that they allow us to have it be as anonymized as possible. And then responses come in aggregate, we're looking at, the percent of people on this question who mark this box. So a lot of the results are seen, this percent versus that percent. So Kate, I'm not going to be able to ferret out which one is you. We also have some open-ended questions where people are invited and we label them as optional, where we'll ask a question, maybe there's a closed-ended and we'll say, please comment on why you answered that way. And we'll say optional. And some people skip it, and some people write 3 words, and some people just get going and tell us a story or share an experience. And that information, we can't roll it up and aggregate it in a percent, but we find that it is very helpful to have actual language from people who did the survey to explain and share perspective. And so the students do what's called coding, where they'll take those open ends and they'll look at the key themes and they will say, X% of people made a comment that had to do with this topic or this theme. But we will take those open-ended comments and use some of those as quotes, not tied to the person, not tied to any of their demographics, but to help bring something to life, a data point or a quantitative point from the study. And then at the end, we say, thanks so much for your time. And in gratitude, you have the opportunity to enter a drawing for a gift card. And if you want to enter, then you have to put your email. And of course, that then people are gonna be like, oh, wait, I want my responses to be confidential. And Qualtrics has a really great way that they allow us to do that. Whereas people finish the survey, if they say, yes, I want to enter the drawing, they click that yes, and it actually kicks them into a separate survey. So if you say, yes, I want to enter the drawing and you put your email in, that entry is a totally different survey that even if I wanted to, I couldn't match your email with your responses. And we do put a little reassurance, like, your email will not be able to be linked to your responses, but that's how it's done, that you click that yes, and then you're actually kicked into a different survey to put your email address. So there's no way to link. And we're careful as we're slicing and dicing the data. One of the great things we can do with the data set is to be able to compare responses, younger respondents versus older respondents, or we're looking at languages, races, ethnicities, and we're able to slice and dice that data, which it's really rich and gives a lot of learning. But if we have a subgroup that's very small, then we won't show the data, because I don't want to say, oh, there were 2 people in this subgroup and they said this. And then someone's going to be like, oh, I know who that is because I sent it to those 2 people who matched those demographics. So the analysis, the data is gathered in a way to be as sensitive to privacy as possible. And then it is analyzed and communicated in a way also to respect that.
Thank you. We are working also on on finding a way to publish our data in aggregate as we get the survey responses year over year, and showing the data so that it's transparent to the community as well. And that's something that our community engagement task force is working on. We just have focused on many different priorities, as you can imagine, over the last year, so that we haven't made as much progress as we hoped, but that's still in the works, and we're working on some sort of visualized database that we will get in the next year or so. So, any other questions before we wrap up today? Thank you for everyone who was able to join.
And this is only 18 and above, is that correct? Okay.
Yes, 18 and up. So the very first question, ask your age, and if someone marks under 18, we say, thanks so much for being willing, but have a great day. It's just 18 and up.
This is Gretchen. I'll add, we have regret about that. We would love to hear from our younger neighbors and haven't figured out a path to do that in this process. And I might go ahead and add, if you end this Zoom call and find yourself with questions, I'm sure happy to be a resource. I know Kate is as well. She put her email in the document. But if you find yourself wondering, I'm happy to be a resource, and I'll share my contact information here just while I've got y'all. My direct phone number is 503-540-2371. And we have our email address, which is humanrights@cityofsalem.net, or you'll have just my email, gbennett@cityofsalem.net, and those will get to me, and we're happy to help. A couple of you have appear frozen on my screen. Kate or Joaquin, Kate may be frozen. Do you have any closing remarks as we end?
I can see everybody. Gretchen, it may be your city manager Wi-Fi. I'm not sure, but thank you all for being here. And if there's no more questions, well, we're happy to release you back to your lunch hour. Thank you for your time. And if you do have questions, please reach out to Kate, myself, or Gretchen, and we'll be happy to answer them as they come in. So thank you all, and thank you again in advance for your partnership.
Very good.